Hello students, welcome to today's class. Today we are going to learn about Constitution. ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. Students, in today's era you take up any competitive exams like you have PC, PSI, FDA, SDA, VAO, PDO, Group C, banking or UPSC exam. Constitution is one of the favorite themes in polity subject. The subject itself, polity, has significant number of questions which comes in competitive examination, and in the subject polity, constitution is the base to understand the subject polity. ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಏನಿದೆ ಪಾಲಿಟಿ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಪಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೋನ್. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಲ್ ದ ಪಾಲಿಟಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಪಾಲಿಟಿ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಟುಡೇ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವರ್ ವರಂಡಾರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 13 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಅನುಭವದೊಂದಿಗೆ KPSC ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳಿಗೆ ತಯಾರಿ ನಡೆಸ್ತಿದ್ವಿ. ಹಾಗೂ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಆಫರ್ ಇದೆ. ಯಾರು ಬೇಗ ಬಂದು ಅಡ್ಮಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಶಿಪ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ ಟು ₹15,000 ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕೌಂಟ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಫೀಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಕೋಚಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ PC, PSI, Exercise SI, Constable, FDA, SDA, Group C, VU, PDO, CTI exam. Almost we have covered all the competitive exams. So those who are looking forward for coaching to appear for this competitive exams can join us and contact us. The register link will be in the description. And the class batch starts from Monday 9 June 2025. The duration is 5 months. So now, Constitution in Kannada, ಸಂವಿಧಾನ. So students, now let's learn what is Constitution. ಏನು ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಅಂದರೆ? So what Constitution basically is, in large societies in which different communities of people live together, the rules are formulated through consensus. And in modern countries, this is usually available in written form. Now students, let's break down this general meaning. So first word I have highlighted is different communities. What do you mean by different communities of people? Community ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಮುದಾಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. So in large societies in which different communities of people live together. So in large societies in which different communities of people live together. What do you mean by community? Community is a general classification of people who have common interest or passion or live in a place. Meaning communities of people ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಮನ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ, ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಲಿವ್ ಇನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ, ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಫಾಲೋ ಹಿಂದೂಯಿಸಮ್, ಹಿಂದೂ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ. So community is not big English word. Community means group of people who are classified and who has a common thing. That common thing can be anything. Say it's a passion, hobby, practice, name, anything. So in a large society in which different communities of people live together, the rules are formulated through consensus. Consensus means an agreement. Consensus ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ದು ಏನಿದೆ ಅಗ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿರೋ ರೂಲ್ಸ್, ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿರೋ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ದು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ನಾವು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಈ ಸೊಸೈಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರದು ಒಂದು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಈಸ್, ಇನ್ ಅ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಸೊಸೈಟೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ live together, the rules are formulated through consensus, and in modern countries this is usually available in written form. In this present era, all those countries usually the constitution are written, but there are also some countries whose constitution is partially written, partially unwritten, which we will be seeing in the upcoming slides. So I hope you are clear with the general meaning. General constitution ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ನಿಮಗೆ? in large societies in which different communities of people live together, the rules are formulated through consensus, and in modern countries these are usually available in written form. So now, all democratic countries are likely to have constitution, but not necessarily all those countries which have constitution are democratic. So what do you mean by this, students? First, let us understand what are democratic countries, meaning what is democracy. So if you see of the origin of the word democracy, democracy, the word is origin from two Greek words, that is demos and kratia. Demos meaning people and kratia meaning rule. So what democracy basically is, in democracy, people have the ultimate authority or the power of decision making in the policies for a country. In democracy, we also call as Prajaprabhutva in Kannada. Kannada students, democracy in Kannada is called Prajaprabhutva. So we learned democracy and its two origin, that is two Greek words, demos means people and kratia means rule. And what democracy is, in democracy, people have the ultimate decision making power in terms of framing any rules or for framing the policy or framing the amendments. So what this statement tells is, all democratic countries are likely to have constitution. Likely. Here the statement is not extreme, students, meaning all democratic countries are likely to have constitution, but not necessarily all those countries which have constitution are democratic. ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ದೇಶಗಳೇನಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವರ್ಲ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ, ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅವು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅವಕ್ಕೆ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೂ ಏನು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. China, Saudi Arabia, Brunei. Now students, these countries are the examples for those countries which have constitution but they are not democratic. So in polity, students, whenever we come across new things, say example here, while learning what are those democratic countries, we came across examples like China, Saudi Arabia and Brunei. Now let's learn some things about these countries. Like students, someone in the comment section let me know, in China, like in India, the ultimate head, the ultimate power lies with the prime minister, meaning president is the nominal head but the real executive is the prime minister. Same ways in China, students, can even in the comment section let me know who has the ultimate power, whether it's the president or the prime minister. And same with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabiaದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಪ್ಪ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ಅಥಾರಿಟಿ? ಸೌದಿ ಅರೇಬಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾರಾ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ರಾಜ ಇದ್ದಾನಾ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರಾ? And also same in Brunei. And if you further know who is the president or prime minister of China or Saudi Arabia or Brunei, please let me know in the comment section. Okay students, in China actually it is the president who is the ultimate authority, and present president we know is Xi Jinping. It's very important to keep a track of our neighbors. In China, usually the president who has the ultimate authority and power, and even China has a prime minister post also which is called as Chinese premier. That I'll be explaining in upcoming sessions when we take up presidents and governors. Okay, and in Saudi Arabia too is Mohammed bin Salman, commonly known as MBS. Mohammed bin Salman, he is the prime minister of Saudi Arabia, also the ruling crown prince. And even in Brunei. So let's move to the next slide. I hope you understand what does democracy means and what are democratic countries, and also this condition that all democratic countries are likely to have constitution, but not necessarily all those countries which have constitution are not democratic. So students, it's very important to understand the types of democracy. ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. Now let's start with direct democracy. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ನೇರ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ people exercise their supreme power directly, meaning in direct democracy people they directly vote for any amendments or any policies or any decisions made. The good example for this is Switzerland. And please students, you also should do some homework, like there are other countries also where direct democracy exists. Please go to internet, use internet, make good use of internet. Please search for other countries also. Mainly there are European countries where they have direct democracy. Please do look at it. So now let's see the 4 devices of the direct democracy. In direct democracy, there are 4 devices or tools to exercise their power directly. And the first one is referendum. Referendum is also called as procedure. Students, in any competitive examination, examiner can match these words. Like he can ask referendum, match, he can give referendum, initiative, recall, plebiscite at one side, and he can give other words on the other side. So other words for referendum is its procedure. You have to keep this in mind. Other word for initiative is enactment. Other words for recall is removal. Other word for plebiscite is opinion. So these are the 4 tools which are very important in direct democracy, that is referendum, initiative, recall and plebiscite. So usually in polity, students get confused between referendum and plebiscite because they both are in similar meaning but they are not same. So here quickly I'll give you a glimpse about what is referendum and plebiscite. So students, in referendum what happens is, in referendum already a policy or a decision or already an amendment will be done by the government. Already it is done. Later government will take up referendum telling people, I have already passed the legislation or already I have passed an amendment. You please let me know whatever I have passed, whether it is correct or not, or are you satisfied with this or not. That is referendum. Government has already done some action. It is asking your feedback or opinion. That is referendum. Whereas in plebiscite, what government does is, government wants to know the opinion of its citizens regarding some national importance. Example, recently India Pakistan were almost in war, Operation Sindoor. The government wants to know, people, whatever I've dealt with the Pakistan, whether it's way of Operation Sindoor or other diplomatic channels, are you satisfied with it or not? To know that, government does plebiscite. Plebiscite is done asking people to vote something of general importance or national importance, whereas referendum is government has done some action already, which is passing the bill or legislation or amendment. Now it is asking, give me your feedback. And also when you go with the nature or tone, usually referendum, it is very important in the following. Referendum is of a positive nature because government has done some action, it is asking your feedback, and it is also almost binding. Say government has, example, farm bill, government had already passed farm bill, and if it puts to referendum and if people chooses it that farm bill should be repealed, it is almost binding on the government. That's why it is positive. Whereas in plebiscite, government is just asking your opinion, that's all. Whatever opinion you give, it's up to the government whether it can follow or it's not follow. So it is generally, plebiscite is of a negative opinion. Now the example, there are historical examples of referendum which happened in India. Students, please note down, India is not a direct democracy. India is a indirect democracy. India is a indirect democratic country, and also an indirect democratic country. India is a parliamentary country. India has a parliamentary government system, which I'll be explaining in the upcoming slide, where there is salient features of Constitution. I will be explaining in detail with that. As of now, we should be concentrating on direct democracy, because in the future you won't come across this topic direct democracy, but it is very important in terms of exam. So as I said, referendum is a tool of direct democracy, but historically it has also taken place in India. Though India being an indirect democracy, it has already taken place. Example, in 1967, in Goa, the bordering states of Maharashtra and Goa, there was referendum held telling that whether some parts of Goa should be joined with Maharashtra state. The referendum was held in around 1967. In 1961, somewhere in 1961, Goa was liberated from Portuguese by our Indian military, Operation Vijay. In 1967, the bordering places of Goa and Maharashtra, there was a referendum held whether some parts of Goa should be joined with Maharashtra. In the referendum, Goa people, majority of them voted telling that no, we Goans, we have our own culture and identity, we don't want to be merged with Maharashtra, let us be with the Goa. This one of the referendum example which is said. Also another example is 1975, Sikkim, Chogyal Institute, there also referendum was held. Where it comes to plebiscite, then another example of plebiscite is in 1948, the princely state called as Junagadh. Junagadh, a Muslim dominated princely state, wanted to join Pakistan, but their plebiscite was held, and then in plebiscite people voted majority telling that we don't want to join Pakistan. Today Junagadh is in Gujarat, present state. So that is the difference between referendum tool and plebiscite tool. You should keep in mind that referendum is government has done something here, something already, it is asking for feedback. In plebiscite, government is just taking your opinion. Hey people, please tell me the opinion, that's all. So second tool, if you see, it is initiative. Here, initiative, though as I said, India is indirect democracy and initiative is the tool of direct democracy, but something kind of initiative exists in our India. Example students, PIL. P-I-L, PIL. In judiciary, I'll teach you in depth about what is PIL. As of now, you should just know, it is public interest litigation, PIL. So what initiative tool is in direct democracy, what people do is, people want some amendments in the constitution. They will be having some constitution and they want that some amendment according to the present condition, or they want to repeal some provision. So what people do is, they take up petitions, some 10,000 people, some 50,000 people, they take up petition, they sign everything and they submit to the government telling that we want to initiate some changes. That is the initiative tool which I have with the people in the direct democracy. Now recall. This recall is one of the most significant feature in politics which holds responsible to the elected response. I'll tell you why. Because recall, the other word as I said, this is removal. So what this recall tool does is, in direct democracy, when people are elected, after getting elected, we know how politicians work. So when people are not satisfied with their work, people have the right, like how they voted and took him to the powerful seat, they also have the powerful tool called recall to get him out of the powerful seat. People in direct democracy, to recall, they directly vote elected representative telling enough is enough. After being elected, you are not done your job, so please get down of your position. This is the tool they use. So recall is already known as removal. Example, in USA, in California, there was a mayor called Gary Davis. After getting elected as a mayor, his job was not satisfied with the people. People used this tool called recall tool, and they just removed him from the power and they replaced him with the other mayor. This is a very powerful tool in the direct democracy. So students, these are the basic tools of the direct democracy, that is referendum, initiative, recall and plebiscite. So this is about direct democracy. When we come out indirect democracy, what is indirect democracy? Sorry, just a minute, students. So students, what is indirect democracy? In direct democracy, people directly have the power. Directly people used to vote for any provision, amendment or any provisions. So in indirect democracy, people will elect representatives who on behalf of the people will make decisions who run the government. What is indirect democracy is, representatives, those who are elected by the people, exercise supreme power, carry on government and make laws. Direct democracy, Indirect democracy is opposite to direct democracy. In direct democracy, people directly vote for any provision or any laws. In indirect democracy, people would have already elected representatives telling representative on behalf of me, you have the right, you take the decision, you run the government. That is indirect democracy. So under indirect democracy, there are two types of democracy, that is parliamentary system and presidential system. So India as a country, as a parliamentary, India is a indirect parliamentary democracy, whereas USA is a indirect presidential democracy. I will be explaining about what is parliamentary system of indirect democracy, what is presidential system of indirect democracy in the upcoming classes when we take up president and also when we take up salient features of the constitution. Now, students, we will see what is the requirement of the constitution. Okay, sir, you told me about the meaning of the constitution, you told me about what is democracy, what is indirect democracy. Now, what is the requirement of the constitution? Without constitution, can country exist? Really? We'll get to know after studying all these 5 points. Now, students, in examination, any question about the basics of constitution, if you just focus on these keywords, you will be easily able to get the mark. In any competitive exam from constitution, at least one question guaranteed, telling which is the nearest meaning, which is the nearest function of the constitution. So let's see. What is the requirement of constitution is, it serves as a set of rules and principles. This is very important. These two words are very important regarding to constitution. Constitution serves a set of rules and principles that all persons in a country can agree upon, and on a basis of the country to be governed. Basically what constitution is no one, for Indian constitution, no British is telling these are the rules which you should follow. For Indian constitution, we Indians, we will be framing our own rules and regulations about how we should be governed. That is what it does. Constitution provides for set of rules and principles that all persons in country can agree upon. That is very important. Rules and principles which citizens of the country can agree upon, and on the basis of country to be governed. That is the first requirement. Second one, constitution defines the nature of the country's political system. As I said, students, why India is indirect democratic and parliamentary form of government? Because it is given in the constitution. Constitution defines the nature of the country's political system. If that country in its constitution, if it has what type of political government should exist in that country, that is how it is followed. So constitution, another important function of constitution is it defines the nature of country's political system. Third function is constitution safeguards what? Against misuse power of our leaders. Whether in direct democracy or indirect democracy, there will be elected leaders by people who will be running the government, who will be taking majority of the decisions on the behalf of the government. So in constitution, it will be written that safeguard the leaders cannot misuse their power in order to for their personal gains or to harass the citizens of the country. That is the third important function. The fourth function is protection of less powerful from majority groups against the minority groups. If I tell this function, immediately one of the most finest our forefather you should be remembering, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. He just fought for this one function like anything. You will be taught in modern history classes also, in the upcoming polity classes, so I will be highlighting these things. Another important function of the constitution is protects less powerful groups from getting harassed, getting in the unadvantaged position from the dominant groups, because in constitution it is clearly written what people can do to other people, what people can't do. And fifth important function is it doesn't allow whims to change the basic structure of the constitution. So what does it mean is, constitution basically it provides for amendment, but that amendment can't be anything. Tomorrow some political party comes to the power and he thinks this this provision in the constitution is useless, let me repeal it. What if it abridges the fundamental rights of the people? That is the reason constitution, it will be written clearly what can be changed, what can be amended, what can't be amended, what can't be changed. That these are the 5 important functions. For any examination, you just focus on these keywords, students. rules and principles, defines the nature of country's political system, safeguards misuse of powers by leaders, protection of minorities against the majority, doesn't allow whims to change the basics. These 5 general points, with these 5 general points, memorizing or understanding or learning, in examination, any question from the constitution, you will be easily able to arrive at the answer. Okay, when we learned about the functions of the constitution, I have some questions for you, like how learning about those requirements, how it will help you. See, as I said, the question will be asked. This is one of the questions from one of the competitive exams. So see how easily we can arrive at the answer just by learning only those 5 points requirement of constitution. What is the question basically? Which one of the following statements best reflect the chief purpose of the constitution of a country? Now while reading the question, everyone will focus on purpose of the constitution of a country. People will miss chief. People will miss chief. In the question paper, I have not highlighted this, students. In question paper itself, they have highlighted chief, 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 chief. Which one of the following statement best reflects the chief purpose of the constitution of a country? If you see all the 4 options, directly, indirectly, all 4 are answers. If I miss the word chief, then I will be confused. What is this? All 4 are answers, easy 1 mark, I am losing it. No, you won't be confused after watching this class because I have already taught you exactly what 5 points are. See, so first I will be reading. It determines the objective for the making of the necessary laws. Yes, but not what they are telling. Chief, I am not getting that chief glimpse here. Second point, it enables the creation of political office and government. Yes, directly, indirectly, constitution provides for it, but still I am not satisfied with this chief. Now let's, I'll just keep this in doubt. First and second. I'll go with the third option. It defines and limits the powers of government. Limits. Oh my God. Limit the powers of government. Somewhere I read functions of the constitution, requirements of the constitution. It limits the misuse of powers by the leaders. Somewhere, and if I see the fourth option also, it secures social justice, social equality, social security. It is, yeah, directly, indirectly, yeah, constitution is contributing to it, but still question mark. But out of these 4 statements, this statement I have already read it in the requirements or functions of the constitution, which is it defines the limits of the powers of the government. Yeah, in constitution it is very important because constitution limits the elected leader on the government, what they can impose on its citizen. Or else if this function is not there in the constitution, our leaders would have taken us for granted and they would have sold everyone, all of us. So this is how you will be able to, by learning only those 5 statements, this is how you will be able to learn, come at the answer. So we will go back. Again we will become, I have 2-3 more questions for you, student. Again we will be coming back to this. See. It safeguards against the misuse of powers of the leaders. Misuse. Only these 5 statements about the constitution. Now, as I said, there are some countries, those have unwritten constitution. There are some countries which have written constitution. Now, purposely I have added only their flag because students who are preparing for competitive exam, it's very important. They should be knowing some of the big economic country or some of our neighbors. They should be knowing what their flag is. So, students in the comment section, please let me know which country is this. Which country is this? Which country is this? Not so difficult. These countries are either our major bilateral trade partners, or these countries are maybe our neighbors, or these countries are our friends. Please let me know, political students, those who are preparing for competitive exams, which countries' flags are these? Okay, students. This is flag of United Kingdom. Yes, United Kingdom as unwritten constitution. This one is New Zealand. This one, our very dear friend, Israel. Fourth one, Canada. Fifth one, Saudi Arabia. Sixth one, China. So, students, please note it down. When I say these countries have unwritten constitution, It doesn't mean not even a single provision is written. No. When I mean unwritten constitution, meaning they don't have complete constitution in a written form, meaning they have some part of the constitution in written form, some part of the constitution not in written form. We in India, we have complete constitution in a written form. So we're a country which has written constitution, whereas these countries partially written, partially not written, or fully not written, fully unwritten. So these are the countries, they don't have fully written constitution. UK, New Zealand, Israel, Canada, Saudi Arabia and China. So these are the countries which have written constitution, students. As we know, India, we have world's lengthiest written constitution. We have that record thanks to our forefathers, constitutional forefathers. Second one, USA. This is United States of America. They too have a written constitution, and their constitution is considered as one of the oldest constitution. Somewhere in the 1776, somewhere in the 1700s, they were one of the first country to have the written constitution and also written preamble, which other countries also followed the same, which I'll be explaining you in next upcoming session. Third country, this is France. It's very easy for the examiner to ask questions about which countries have the written constitution or unwritten constitution, please match, or whichever the countries, how many above countries have written or unwritten constitution. This is Japan. So understood, students? These many countries have written constitution. These many countries have unwritten constitution. Now, we learned about the requirements of the constitution. Now we will see functions of the constitution. Constitution ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡಾಯ್ತು. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ನ ಬರೆಯೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ನಮಗೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್? ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿ ದಟ್. To specify who has the power to make decision. Who has the power? Keyword, very important. Please remember this. Even if you ignore to specify, this is also fine. Please don't ignore to specify who has the power to make decision in the society. In constitution, it will be clearly written whether decision making power, whether people has decision making power, or the elected representative has decision making power. Even if elected representative, we have elected representative, we have president also, we have prime minister also. But who has more power in India? Who we has given best real executive, nominal executive? Based on the constitution, president is a nominal executive, prime minister real executive. So constitution tells us. So constitution specifies who has the power to make decisions in the society. Second, it decides how the government will be constituted. In constitution, it will be written how the government will be constituted, whether through direct democracy, whether to direct meaning people. We have both direct voting also indirect voting in our Indian constitution. If you see in the elections of parliament, we directly vote to them, we directly vote to the candidate. But in terms of in the election to the president, indirect elected, that is MPs and MLAs vote. People don't take part in the voting. That is written in the constitution. Like in the constitution, it will be decided how the government will be constituted. And anything which is not followed this, it is leads to the invalid, which is unconstitutional. Now, another function of the constitution, it sets some limits. See, in that requirement also there was a limit word. What limit is? Misuse of it. Limits powerful people misusing, or leaders misusing their power. Here also it sets some limits what a government can impose on its citizens. These limits are fundamental. These limits are fundamental, meaning government can never trespass them. In constitution, there are some fundamental rights given to its citizens of India, and no matter which government comes to power, that government can never take back those fundamental rights, either through amendment or repealing. In constitution it is written, it is unconstitutional or invalid to do any such sort of thing. Another important function is to enable the government to fulfill the aspirations of a society and create conditions of a just society. The aspiration of the society also, some part of aspirations are already written in the preamble, and also in the constitution it provides that the government, the country, what is the aspiration of the country? Like, what is the aspiration? India wants to be a peaceful country. India want to be friends with its neighbors. India want to globally develop its technologies. These are some of the aspirations. So in constitution it will be written to enable the government to fulfill the aspirations of a society and create conditions. Any government which comes to power, they can look back to constitution. Okay, what is written in our constitution? What can be done to achieve our aspirations of the society? So these are some of the important functions of the constitution. Just focus on this word, student, the function of the constitution. Who has the power of decision making? How the government will be constituted? Some limits. Constitution sets some limits on whom? Obviously it will be on elected representatives, government. Now, and it enables government to fulfill the aspirations. So there is one question which can be asked like this in competitive exam. I'll show you. Yes, see this. Consider the statement. A constitution expresses the aspirations of a society. What is meaning by aspiration? Meaning what country wants to be. You are also aspirants. You are also aspirants of government competitive exams. You are aspirants of KPSC exam. Meaning you are aspiring. You want to clear the exam. You want to become something. That is what is the aspirations of a society about creating good society. Which function does this statement best describe? Statement best. Lot of people in examination pressure while reading the question will ignore the word best. And when you read the answer, all answers are similar. All answers are same. How to arrive at the answer? If you read the question, restricting the flow of information, restricting, the word itself is negative. Do you think examiner will give something, make something answer something negative statement as an answer? Very, very unlikely. Establishing economic monopolies. Economic monopolies. Yeah, we do have some of economic monopolies, like Indian government is running railways in India. There is no privatization section as of now. There's chances. So if you don't know the answer, just keep question mark. Third one, enabling the creation of just and equitable society. The word enable is always in the statement, in examination statement, likely to be an answer. And also, see, first one, you read the statement, enable, it's a positive word. Second, creation of a just and equitable society. What is just and equitable society? Basically it's a good society, where in society it is very just. Meaning ಯಾವುದೇ ಅನ್ಯಾಯ ನಡೀತಿಲ್ಲ society society ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ರಾಮರಾಜ್ಯ. Nothing bad is happening in this society, which is just and equitable. Everyone is getting equality, equal opportunities. No one is given, no one is prioritized, no partiality. Fourth option, promoting a specific political ideology. Oh, this is very negative and very dangerous statement. Promoting a specific political ideology above others. So the moment you read this, you'll cross two extreme statements we have, you already eliminated. Now you have two statements. One, you have establishing economic monopolies, question mark, you don't know, but here you have positive, enabling the creation of a just and economic society. Close your eyes and take, you got 1 mark in any competitive exam. That's how, by learning requirements or functions of the constitution, you will be easily able to arrive at an answer. So hope everything is covered in today's class. We learned what is the general meaning of the constitution, just to refresh your memory. What is the general meaning of the constitution? Then we learned what are democratic countries, what is democracy, the origin. And students, wherever you go in the world, please feel proud. India, in spite of having 28 states and 8 union territories, different race, different languages, different communities existing together, we world's most populous democracy. Had any country had population of India, definitely they wouldn't be developed. Where we are today, though we have a lot of problems in India, corruption, infrastructure is very bad, cleanliness is very bad, still we have to be very proud, because we are we are the populous country in the world. In spite of having so many people, so many different people, different states, different habits, we are the world's democracy. All the countries should learn what democracy is from India. Please be proud of it. And we saw types of democracy. Entirely we learned about direct democracy and its tool, referendum, initiative, recall, plebiscite, indirect democracy. I'll be teaching you in depth in the features of the constitution in the upcoming classes. And we learned requirement of the constitution, highlighted words. We learned written constitution countries, and we also learned what are those flags. Additional point. We also learned unwritten. We have written. Sorry, in here we have written. We learned unwritten constitution. Here we learned written constitution and also flags of those countries. And here we learned functions of the constitution. And here we solve the question. Second question also we solve, and we have one last question. So whatever we learn, based on that, let's solve this. When a constitution provides a means for amending its provisions, it reflects which important function? Constitution provides a means for amending its provision. It reflects which important function? Ensuring a permanent and unchangeable government structure. Permanent, it's a negative and extreme statement. What this statement is telling? Constitution function is permanent, unchangeable. No, as we know, Indian constitution is evolving constitution. Extreme statement. Close your eyes. Allowing for the flexible adoption of laws and changing societal needs. I just said Indian constitution is evolving constitution. It's very important for constitution to be flexible to suit to the present conditions of the society. So this is very positive, but still if you have doubt, go to third option. Centralizing all the power with the head of the state. Centralizing. We all know in India it's decentralization, meaning wherever we have decentralization, majoritarily it has worked for this democracy. For democracy, centralizing is very bad. So it's negative, extreme, you will be cutting it. Fourth option, removing the need for judicial review. Seriously, if you remove the need for judicial review, lot of amendments which is passed by the government, which will be obstructing your fundamental rights. This is also extreme statement. Without judicial review, government will pass such amendments, such acts where people cannot survive. So the only positive statement here, only good thing after reading it we feel is allowing for the flexible adoption of laws to changing societal needs. See the question. A means of amending its provision, it reflects which important function? The function is to allow for the flexible adoption of laws to change societal needs. This is how you solve, just by learning functions and requirement, those 5 points, those 4 points. So I hope today students you have learned what is constitution, Samvidhana andre enu, functions of constitution, requirements of constitution, and which countries have written constitution, which countries have unwritten constitution, what is democracy, Praja Prabhutva andre enu. I hope you learned all this. This is very much enough for you students. What all you learned in this session, which is very much enough, if you revise it once, which is very much enough to answer any questions in competitive exam which is coming from the constitution part of you. I hope you liked our today's class, students. Thank you so much.